Uh, as you know, a couple years ago, we reversed a 40-year policy that we'd had here in the United States that banned the export of oil. We were successful in lifting that in December of 2015, and there was some speculation at the time that not much would change in terms of the volume of oil that's exported from the United States due to the price of oil, due the need for infrastructure improvements, other global supply factors. We haven't necessarily seen that. We haven't seen the price impacts. We haven't seen the supply shortages that some claimed. Can you discuss how the export of U.S. oil has changed the world dynamic? You referenced earlier in response to the question from Senator Cantwell how with more LNG that the United States has put out there on that global market, how that has impacted not only Europe, Russia, but can you speak to the role that we are playing in the world energy markets now that we are able to export?
Of course, Madam Chair. So December 2015, you took this, in my view, a very good decision to lifting the U.S. Oil export ban, because we, as the IEA, we look after the global energy security. It's a very positive contribution to global energy security. So it came in 2016 was a year where the U.S. oil industry had a difficult year because of the low prices, low oil prices. Therefore, that year we have seen the exports were just under 600,000 barrels per day. But 2017, last year, we saw an increase in the exports. It was about 1 million barrels per day most of the time, but certain weeks it went to 2 million barrels per day, a significant contribution. The important area here is that not only the size, but the quality of the oil is very important that you are exporting. It is light and sweet, the quality, which is very much in demand, and therefore it can be used in many countries. Again, one of the major buyers is China here today. So looking at the years from now, 600,000, 1 million barrels per day with the in 2017, with the increasing U.S. oil production and the increasing global oil markets, we expect U.S. crude oil exports will play an important role, even though we are not there compared to natural gas, LNG, but it makes also a significant an important contribution, both in terms of size, but in terms of it is good quality.
Interesting. So when you think about where we have been historically with world conflict that comes about because of the virtual advantage that some nations have when it comes to energy resource, whether it's the Middle East, other parts of the world. Well, you have given us kind of a new view of where we are going with energy and energy worldwide, all that is coming on with regards to renewable. This means that countries that might not have fossil fuels at their disposal have other ways that they too can achieve their own level of energy production. When we think about the potential hotspots for conflict that comes about over energy, we've had presentations here in this committee in the years that I've served on the committee, and it's always seems to have been focused around the who has the capacity when it comes to those sources of fossil fuels. Do you see this changing now that that the broader world energy portfolio is a greater mix, whether it's what you're saying China is looking to with regards to nuclear, the price competitiveness and the advent as renewables are truly becoming more viable solutions? How do you see things changing Or am I oversimplifying things with my example, and we still have the same kind of historical energy hotspots?
In fact, this is an extremely important issue, Madam Chair, if I may say so. Now, there are two important changes happening in terms of geopolitics of energy. One of them is the coming of renewables. It is important. It is, for some countries, more important than the others. But if I may, renewables we are using mainly for electricity generation. But for transportation, for home heating, for industry, we still use a lot of gas, natural gas, in some countries coal, in some countries electricity, and others. So therefore, the renewables changing the geopolitics of energy in a big way is not something I would agree. This is it makes a small dent, but it is not going to change the geopolitics of energy, which is centered on oil and gas currently. But the second change on the geopolitics of energy in the world is coming from the United States. This changed the geopolitics of energy. U.S. coming as a major oil and gas country, being a major exporter, changed a lot of thinking, changed a lot of issues. Let me give you one example. Several years ago, the United States was importing a lot of oil from Middle East. Very soon, or perhaps nowadays, it is zero or close to zero. This is something very important. Another thing, U.S. is competing with Russia for European gas markets. U.S. is today exporting gas to Poland, for example, whereas Russia is very, it changed the dynamics significantly there. And from U.S. perspective, I am sure Secretary Tillerson, in the international negotiations with his counterpartners, is sitting on his chair much more comfortably compared to his predecessors as a country, representing a country with a lot of oil and gas potential. Having said that, if I have to pinpoint one vulnerability in our world in terms of oil and gas, it is the following. Many countries in the Middle East and also some major Eastern European countries, their economies are single product economies, oil and some cases gas. When the price of these commodities go down, or as we just discussed with Senator Cassidy here, in the very future, if the electric cars one day become a major part of transportation, they may seriously suffer their economies, and they are not prepared for that. Their entire economy, social life, is based on oil revenues. This is a major vulnerability, especially today, when the oil prices will be, we expect, more and more volatile, and technology may make big surprises. Therefore, as International Energy Agency, we are going to focus in our next outlook, World Energy Outlook, these vulnerabilities of these countries. And if you wish, Madam Chair, I will be very happy to come and report to you which countries, which vulnerabilities, and what measures can be taken there. But once again, geopolitics of energy has been redefined as a result of the developments in the United States in big times, but also introduction of renewable energies in some countries.
Very interesting. Thank you for that.